All right, so what I need for you to do now that you have taken your USA test prep on active and passive, I need you to go into Schoology, and you are going to click on your English course. You are going to scroll down to third 9 weeks, and then you are going to click on Wednesday, February the 7th. I'm sorry, you're going to click on Monday, February the 14th. All right, we are going to go to active and passive day 1. You are going to open your assignment with Cami. Okay. Now, I need for you to go ahead and get your highlighter ready. You're going to need 2 different colors. You need one color for active, one color for passive. Okay, you need one color for active and one color for passive. I am going to use pink as my active and then like teal as my passive. Okay. All right. So in an active voice verb construction, the subject is the one doing the action. Okay. In active voice verb construction, the subject is the one doing the action. But in passive voice verb construction, all right, the subject receives the action or something is done to him, her, or it. Okay? So I want you to write or type this sentence. All right? The carnivores or carnivores eat meat. All right? Carnivores eat meat. I just typed the sentence. Carnivores eat meat. Okay. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to go back to your highlighter real quick and I want you to highlight the subject of this sentence. All right. I would go with a different color. All right. Carnivores, I want you to highlight the subject of this sentence. What is the subject of carnivores eat meat? Carnivores. Okay. Now, I want you to go down here to shapes and choose circle. And I want to circle the verb. What do carnivores do? They eat. Okay. Now, I could say they eat who or they eat what? Meat. That is the direct object. So that means that we have a transitive verb. Okay. But carnivores eat meat. Okay. Is this an action verb, a linking verb, or a helping verb? It is an action verb. Okay, so I'm going to put action verb. Now, you told me that carnivores is the subject, right? All right, so the carnivores do what? Eat meat. Okay, it's the subject is doing the action. The subject is doing something to the meat. The subject or carnivores are eating the meat. Okay, so it says the subject is the one doing the action. That means that this sentence right here is active. Good. Okay, so I'm going to type in active. Now, I want to go to a different color and I'm going to do a different sentence. Okay? The meat was eaten by carnivores. Now, in this sentence right here, what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and go back to your highlighter. Okay? And I want you to highlight the subject. Actually, before we highlight the subject, I want you to go to your insert a line, and I want you to mark out your prepositional phrase.
McCarter reported to the library immediately. Gerard McCarter to the library immediately.
Mark out your prepositional phrase. Okay? Because you can't find anything in the... All right? You can't find anything in the... Okay? All right, now what I want you to do is I want us to go back to this sentence. The meat was eaten by the carnivores. Go back to markup, and I want to know what the subject of the sentence is.
Meat.
So we're going to highlight the word meat. Okay? Now, verb or verb phrase. What is the verb? Was eaten. Good. So we're going to circle was eaten. Okay, Cooper.
Like in the sentences that you read yourself, I can't actually highlight it.
You go to the freezing highlight or the box highlight.
Savannah. No. All right, so before I go on to go over this sentence right here, I want to read the B portion, okay? It says passive voice. Let me make sure I'm on my right highlighter. All right, passive voice verb construction is a verb phrase that consists of a be verb and a past participle verb, usually ending in ed or en. So I'm going to circle this part right here. Okay. Now, the other thing that you have to know are your 5 most common be verbs. All right. What are those words? No. Am.
Or was work.
All right. And what are these also called?
Linking verbs.
All right. Linking verbs. Okay. They are also called linking verbs. Connor. They do. It's a form of be. All right. So, on this sentence that I created as an example, it says the meat was eaten by carnivores. Okay. Does this sentence have a linking verb?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Does this have a participle that ends in ed or en? Yes. Okay. This is passive. Now, you are going to come across a couple that have one or the other, but maybe not both. All right. This is when you have to read the sentence and use the context to determine if it is active or if it is passive. Okay. All right. So this next sentence, part C, I am going to highlight, or not highlight, but underline the important parts. Okay, I'm going to underline the important parts. Actually, I may put it in a square. All right, in most situations, active voice is preferred. All right, active voice is preferred because it is more direct, less wordy, and less likely to be confusing. Okay. Now I'm gonna tell you, like I told my last class, if we're highlighting all this important stuff right here, you are more than likely going to see it where? On a test and on your ACAT bell ringer. Okay? We're not done. We haven't even started the practice work. All right, passive voice, I'm going to go to my blue, okay? Passive voice is preferred when the person or thing doing the action is either unimportant or unknown, or when you want to shift the focus away from the doer of the action for rhetorical purposes. Okay? So, I'm going to highlight this part or underline, sorry. Okay? All right, and if you notice, the video that we watched earlier is saying the same thing that this right here is saying. All right, passive voice is preferred when the person or thing doing the action is either unimportant or unknown, or when you want to shift the focus away from the doer of the action for rhetorical purposes. Okay? All right, after we finish with this lesson, you should be able to identify examples of active and passive voice. You should be able to change a passive voice verb to active construction. You should be able to identify situations in which passive voice can and should be used. And you should be able to choose the best verb voice, active or passive, for a given situation or context. All right, so here we go down to the nitty gritty. Now, the questions that you are going to see are coming from the novel The House of the Scorpion by Nancy Farmer. All right, so the directions. In active voice verb construction, the subject is the one doing the action. But in passive voice verb construction, the subject receives the action or has something done to him, her, or it. Okay? Now, you have a set of instructions up here, but I'm about to change them. I need you to listen right now. Okay? So I'm going to go down here and I want you to type this in with me, okay? The first thing that I want you to do is to identify your prepositional phrases and mark them out. Then I want you to find the subject and highlight it. And then you are going to circle your verb and or verb phrase. Thank you.
That goes to somebody here.
Okay. It is. Circle your verb and or verb phrase.
On the thing where it says this is examples from the possible construction thing,
Uh-huh.
I forgot to underline book one.
It's no, it's in italics.
Where'd it go? Well, you gotta underline it too.
Mm-mm.
Then what do you want to do?
You can either italicize or underline. No, underline is
So what do you want to do?
We'll go over that at another date. Right now, I need you to focus on what I'm doing. Okay, so let me make sure we understand this. Identify your prepositional phrases and mark them out. Find the subject and highlight it. Circle your verb and or verb phrase. Okay? Identify your prepositional phrase and mark them out. Find the subject and highlight it. Circle your verb and or verb phrase. Now, I'm going to do 8 with you. I'm going to do 8 with you. I'm going to do 8 of them with you, and you are going to get a good idea of what I'm asking for. You need to keep up. Okay, here we go. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to click on our insert line, and we are going to go through and mark out our prepositional phrases. Okay, so in an epic feline versus canine battle, several cats were captured. In number 1, what is the prepositional phrase, Mason? In an epic feline versus canine battle. This is a long one. Mark it out. Okay, now, several cats were captured. Okay, what is the subject of this sentence? Who is the sentence about? Cats. Now, what did the cats do, or what was done to the cats? What else was done to there's more to it. They weren't just were captured. Okay, so we're going to circle our verbs. Make sure that you are on the circle, okay? Were captured. Now, does this have a linking verb?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Does it have a participle that ends in ed or en?
Yes.
Okay. Can the cats capture themselves?
Oh, no.
This action was performed on the cats. The cats didn't perform it themselves. So, is this active or is this passive? Passive. So, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to write passive. Okay. It has everything to do with it. Because the directions up here say that the passive voice verb construction is a verb phrase that consists of a be verb and a past participle verb, usually ending in ed or en. All right, number 2, their fellow felines decided to mount a rescue effort. Okay? To mount Now, I told my last class I'm still going to ask Miss Susan about this because I have been trying to figure out all day if this is actually to mount is a prepositional phrase or if it really would be considered an infinitive phrase. Okay, but the reason why I really feel like it is more of a prepositional phrase is because decided is right there in front. I don't know. I can't make my mind up on this one. Okay. But we're going to go ahead and mark it out because either way, it's not going to affect what we're about to do here. All right. I want to go back to my markup. All right, what is the subject? Felines. Okay, somebody asked me in my last class, what are felines? They're cats. Okay, felines. All right, what did the felines do?
They mounted.
No, we marked that out.
They decided.
All right. Decided. All right, felines decided. So the cats did something. They performed the action. All right, is this active or is this passive? Active.
Because they did they did something.
The cats did it. Nothing was done. You cannot always go off of ed. This does not have a linking verb. Okay? Just bear with me. Usually, but not always. You really have to pay attention to if the subject is doing the action or not. Okay? All right. Now, on the next one, we want to go ahead and we want to mark out our prepositional phrase. Okay, so what is the prepositional phrase? All right, of the cat's plans. Okay. All right, now, what is the subject of this sentence?
Dogs.
All right, and what is your verb phrase? Were warned. Okay, now, does this sentence have a linking verb? Yes. Does it have a participle that ends in ed or en? Okay, I'm going to circle the ed. Now, the dogs were warned. The dogs didn't do anything. The dogs are not performing the action.
Passive.
All right, this is passive. All right, on number 4, I want to go ahead and I want to go to my shapes in my insert a line and I want to mark out
On both sides.
On both.
All right, now, what is my subject?
Preparations. Because that's
All right, now, what is my verb phrase?
word name.
All right, now, does this sentence have a linking verb? Yes. Okay. Now, this doesn't end in ed or en, but preparations are things, okay? It doesn't have the ability to perform something on its own.
So preparations were made, but not by themselves, so it's passive.
Passive. Very good explanation. All right, in number 5, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do our insert line and we are going to mark out our prepositional phrase of the rescue mission. Connor.
Did you come up with this story?
It doesn't. I just need you to pay attention to what we're doing. Well, pay attention and stop worrying about stuff that doesn't matter right now.
I still understand you said I would.
I need for you to focus on exactly what I'm doing.
I'm just trying to do what you're doing on the board. I can't focus and do it at the same time. I'm copying what you're doing, and I'll get behind if I try to implement it.
Okay. So then you're going to need to go home and watch this again and put in a little bit of extra effort. Okay. All right, here we go. I want you to highlight the subject.
Don't say that loud.
Raise your hand. Aaron. Night. All right, good. Okay, now the night arrived. It is active, but why?
Because it did itself.
It did it. The night did it like.
Someone didn't make the night.
Okay. All right, good. I'm impressed. No, because this has nothing to do with the ED on this one. All right, number 6. 5 feline assassins entered the dog's alley and started to wreak havoc. Okay, we only have one prepositional phrase. Y'all have gotten a lot better at identifying these prepositional phrases. All right, so 5 feline assassins entered. Okay, I want to just focus on these words right here first. 5 feline assassins entered. What is the subject, Mason? Assassins, good. What are the words 5 and feline? Adjectives describing assassins, okay? What did the assassins do? Entered. All right, the assassins actually did this, okay? So you are right. It is active. All right, now we have another noun that we need to look at, okay? So out of the dog's alley and started, what is the noun that we need to focus on? Alley. Now, what is dogs?
That's a possessive pronoun.
It is a plural possessive adjective. It is a noun, but in this word, it is describing alley. Okay? All right, so we need to highlight the word alley. Okay? Now, what else did the assassins do in the alley?
We marked that out.
What else did the assassins started? Okay, so we're going to circle the word started. All right, so the assassins started. They did it. All right, is this active or is it passive? It's the same as the first. It's active. Okay? All right. Number 7, the first wave of guard dogs was crushed viciously.
That's incorrect. It's a word.
All right, we're going to mark out of guard dogs. Okay, now the first wave was crushed viciously. What is the subject of this sentence? All right, wave. Okay, now what happened to the wave? Listen, what did the wave do or what was done to the wave?
So it's passive.
All right.
Yeah, passive because someone crushed them, they didn't crush themselves.
All right. What was done is the way to ask it, okay? It was crushed. All right. So does this have a linking verb?
Yes.
Yes. Does this end in ed?
Yes.
All right. So is this active or is this passive? Passive. All right. Number 8. I need you to go ahead and mark out your prepositional phrases. Did you mark out the same thing I did? All right, so then what is the subject of this sentence? All right, platoon. What happened to the platoon? Was unleashed. Okay. Did the platoon unleash itself or did someone have to unleash it? All right, so it's a linking verb. It ends in ed. What is this? Passive. All right. Number 9, Connor. All right, Cooper.
So if the subject is doing something by itself, it's active. But if it's doing something with some.
No. If the subject is actually doing it, so like Cooper bounced the ball, that is active, okay? Because you are physically bouncing the ball. If I were to say the ball was bounced by Cooper, that would be passive. Does that make sense? It's not the same thing. All right, 9 through 12, you're doing independently. Okay, 9 through 12, you are doing independently. All right, I want you to mark out your prepositional phrase. I want you to highlight your subject, and I want you to circle your verb. And then I want you to write out there active or passive. Okay, I want you to mark out your prepositional phrase, highlight your subject, circle your verb, and tell me if it is active or tell me if it is passive. When you finish, you are going to click turn in, submit. Kayla, you don't have to do it. All right, when you finish, you are going to click turn in, submit. And then